Greetings, peoples of the interwebs. Jake here with my co-hosts, Dave.
I'm on a different side of the table now.
He is. Reverend Spaceman.
I'm Reverend Spaceman.
And Jordan.
What's up?
Thought I'd try interrupting Dave this time, but I forget that Dave just keeps talking.
So you gotta just like power through it sometimes.
Yeah.
You gotta break through those boundaries.
This is our review of Suicide Squad, so general thoughts, Jordan.
Liked it overall. Has a lot of flaws, like most DC films.
Yeah.
Wasn't crazy about the actual story, and thought the villain was a little weak, but characters I liked a lot. Acting pretty good, so like I said, flaws, but came out of the theater enjoying myself.
Reverend Spaceman.
Oh, you're going to me.
You're saving the best for last.
Yeah.
My initial thoughts were actually
Are you Reverend
simple,
Spaceman?
underwhelming.
In one word,
I thought we were doing that thing that we used to do where we did like one word thoughts.
That's
You just brought it back.
That's never been like
I
a...
don't
That
think
we did
that's-
that like
that was so
once.
last year. That's so 2015.
Yeah, I don't think that's been a thing.
Give it the times, Dave.
It's
like
gonna
we've
be.
done
It's
it
coming back in
once.
17. It's coming back in 17.
So I'm ahead of the trend. I'm behind and ahead at
Every
the same time.
we'll do it every
You're-
other year.
You're a hipster, but you're not.
We'll do it every other year. Every year that Nova is in a Sharknado movie.
Odd
Yeah.
movie. Odd years.
Yeah.
Odd years for odd movies.
When did she leave?
I don't know. But anyways.
They explained it in this one, but I liked
Speaking
it.
of, there were things that I could compare this movie to the Sharknado movies, honestly.
You said it like
Wait.
it's a bad thing, but
Wait for
In
your
this
turn.
case, it is.
Wait for your
You
turn,
already
Dave.
said your one word.
Yeah.
I liked it better than Dave.
But we weren't doing that.
You are.
Yeah, you chose to.
Yeah.
I liked it better than Dave. As a person, I just liked the movie better than I liked Dave. But also, I liked it more
That's
than he liked
understandable.
it. Yeah, it's the weakest point is the plot, but I think everything else was strong enough to pull it through and
Yeah.
generally make me say it's not a bad movie.
Yeah, like, my thoughts, I enjoyed it. Is it, like, again, story, obviously, everyone will agree the story's not very good. But, like, the team themselves, very believable. Like, I like their chemistry. Like, you could tell the actors had good chemistry with each other, too. They were having a lot of fun.
That was the good part of the movie, were the actors.
There are more good things than just the actors.
Y'all podcasters.
Okay,
not
Dave.
much.
All right, Dave.
Really not much.
Bring it down with the negativity and start David on this. After you finish
Yeah.
your sip of water.
Just Dave, just let all your Dave loose
Overall,
on it.
I did like the cast. I thought everybody was pretty good in their roles. I even liked Will Smith as Deadshot, which I wasn't expecting. Harley Quinn, spot on,
Yeah.
really good. I really like Jared Leto's Joker. I think he's a more versatile Joker.
That's what I said.
His
at
voice,
first.
yeah, his voice. I said it first in the podcast.
I said it first in the universe.
It was a good point.
Yeah.
I doubt that. In the entire universe of all the people that saw it before we saw it, even though we did see it Thursday night, but there were still early screenings and stuff. Someone said Jared Leto was the most versatile Joker.
And it was me.
Again, taking nothing away from Heath Ledger's, but it was really tailor-made for
Yeah.
that universe. And again, I think you got more of his silliness, but he can also be the terrifying psychopath.
Yeah, at the same time.
And he
like-
can kind of adjust that as he needs to for the
Yeah.
solo Batman films or in another.
It works
ensemble.
very well for this particular
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
Again, not enough Joker, but at the same time, I don't mind that he wasn't.
Yeah, he didn't.
Yeah, he didn't
I mean,
need to be
honest-
the central
he
figure.
honestly
I
didn't even
thought.
need to be in the
Of course,
movie.
yeah, the
No,
advertising was
you didn't-
misleading.
You didn't have to
It's
have him
like-
at all.
I never thought
almost-
Joker was the villain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We almost,
Yeah.
well, you definitely think he's going to be a bigger role.
Also, like, they
I-
gave Jared Leto, like, top billing. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like for his role,
Well-
it should have been, like, you know, Margot Robbie, Will Smith, blah, 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 and Jared Leto.
you
Well,
do sort of.
they
They do
just do
sort of
that.
hint
Yeah,
at it
you
in
have
the
to.
poster where they're all together and he's at the top.
Yeah.
You know, kind of.
But again, like, I think all of us knew Joker wouldn't be that big of a role.
Just like Slipknot's always in the back and all
Yeah.
the pictures.
That was a thing. Like,
It happened
Like, he
exactly
can-
as I thought it would happen.
I don't even mind that happened so much, but at least they gave him no setup at all. It might have meant something. Like
Not
it
even
might have
him.
added the gravity that like that scene was supposed to. Like,
Yeah.
okay, none of us are.
They could have at least played a Slipknot song
Yeah,
of all the
That
good
would've
of all the good music we had. In
Yeah.
the,
yeah,
in
good
the movie.
soundtrack.
Yeah.
Great
I
soundtrack.
will say.
You're at 5 positives right now.
Yeah.
That's a
I-
new,
there
that's
were
a new Dave
positives.
record.
There are things I did like about the movie, but I don't think that some of its parts was greater than its whole. Very poorly made. Again, there's a lot of stuff coming out about David Ayer had his cut. The studio cut is what we got, obviously. The reshoots, which just threw a lot of dumb humor. Some of it worked, some of it didn't. I think a lot of it didn't. I hated Killer Croc. I feel like all his dialogue must have been added in and his awful jokes because he's
What's wrong
supposed
with
to be.
BET,
But he's
man?
beautiful, Dave.
He's supposed
He's
to be this
beautiful.
menacing character, this tough crocodile guy.
Paul
Almost
Hogan
like-
was busy.
almost like the
And Steve
team's
Irwin
whole-
was dead.
But then he just becomes a punchline. I didn't care for the characterization.
I can actually agree with some of that.
Yeah.
To an extent.
I wasn't that. He was fine.
because
Yeah.
he's
I thought, some of the dialogue was. a
he's
little
really
cringy.
doing nothing the whole movie.
Yeah.
And
He threw the bomb, Dave. He was integral to the stopping of
that's the
the
thing.
villain.
That's
Steve Adam West Batman, that is how you
Here's
get
my
rid of a bomb.
Sharknado comparison. It's really like Sharknado, where they're just throwing bombs into the Sharknado and it stops it. They throw a bomb into the giant spiral world destroyer
Yeah.
thingy, and that stops it all of a sudden. And then
Well,
when,
if it worked for Sharknado, it'll obviously work for everything else.
yeah, again, I think we can all agree the end it really just fell
Yeah,
apart.
the third act
And
fell
they-
apart. The villain was very
Well,
weak.
it was really no differentiation. It's kind of they do the character intros, and the second and the third act is just one long scene, basically.
Yeah.
And there's really no. It's a vague plot. There's really no clear narrative because they're going
Like-
on their first mission to
So
rescue this person they're not allowed to know, and then it turns out it's Amanda Waller. So it was like a training exercise, but then the whole Enchantress thing is going on, so they have to keep going.
I took
See,
it
he-
as she just kind of was putting the squad together just as a contingency in case something
Yeah.
happens, and then
Well, yeah, and
something just happens to happen.
And so they're like, well,
I didn't know there.
let's
yeah.
go ahead and use them. See what they do.
Yeah, I
then
didn't.
they're not even really going out to do that at first.
I thought
they're-
the person that they didn't know was always Amanda Waller, and she was just like, "Oh shit, Enchantress thing is happening. I've got that squad. Better use them to rescue me."
Yeah.
Amanda Waller was great in
Maybe
this
it
movie.
was.
Yeah, she was
I was-
possibly the most terrifying villain.
I didn't
of
like
the
her,
movie.
but I don't like Amanda Waller in the comics, so I think that translated really
I,
Okay.
didn't,
well.
I didn't like her. Like I don't think
Yeah,
I could
no.
just hang out
Yeah.
with Amanda Waller, but I liked the writing. I liked
I
the
think-
acting behind
Yeah.
it. You know, they did the character justice.
Yeah,
and
very
she
similar
is-
to the comics.
She is
Well,
terrifying.
then to backtrack a little bit, we start at the movie, we meet Deadshot and Harley Quinn,
Hmm.
and then we have our opening credits or whatever, and then we meet Deadshot and Harley Quinn again. Just sort of redundant. Yeah, I get it, they're the big stars, but... And then you kind of introduce everybody else, very exposition heavy, and then...
to the theme songs too.
Yeah, again, good sound.
Yeah.
It helped, for sure.
I liked it. I
Mhm.
thought it was kind of cool.
And again,
Yeah.
I think the cast were all pretty good. Everybody was pretty good in their roles. I think. Enchantress, Cara
Delevingne.
Yeah.
kind of basically plays two roles.
Yeah.
she was fine as Enchantress. You know,
I think I
the
kinda-
weird
There's really not enough of
belly
her.
dancing
didn't-
at the
yeah,
to
end
grade
is
it,
kind of a
honestly.
weird choice.
We
I don't
didn't
know
get
if
enough
that's
of
really-
June to
I thought
see
she
that.
was pretty wooden in the
Mm.
few
I
June scenes.
think
I
June
thought she was
should
fine
have.
as Enchantress.
And then here, since we don't go in order, skipping back to the end, I think June should have died. It felt kind of cheap that, like, after
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
that, it's just like, oh no, she's
and
fine.
maybe she did. And
Happy ending.
initially, but then
yeah.
Another
Reshoots.
happy ending.
Why am I getting called back? Oh, you're alive still.
Reshoots.
Yeah, that
Reshoots-
was
She was originally dead.
that was one of my issues
Yeah,
with.
I think the highlight of the movie is the cast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because again, the villain is really
The
weak.
plot is weak. The villain is
Um,
weak. The writing is bad.
Well,
and,
at
I,
least-
and I do think they underutilized some really good actors. Like Common was just in one scene,
Yeah.
and didn't
Again,
really.
there might have been some whole kind of underworld.
Yeah, but, like,
there.
oh-
But I do like that Joker is more of this kind of mobster guy.
Yeah.
He's kind of like a Scarface type.
He's basically an
gangster.
update of the original, kind of mob boss
Yeah.
Joker.
Um,
Obviously,
and I-
nowadays that kind of thing.
And I think
they
that fits
have
to this
tattoos
universe
and
rather
Yeah.
than like the Heath Ledger just anarchist, just wanting to watch the world burn.
Yeah, like I said before, Dave said.
Yeah.
But I
This
said it
is-
here first.
This is a more versatile Joker that can be applied to different situations.
It only counts if it's recorded.
Yeah.
Heath Ledger Joker, phenomenal.
Yeah.
Deserves the postmortem. I have nothing bad to say about it, and this isn't even a thing bad about it. But you could not use that Joker in any other movie.
No. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like he works in that one, then Leto Joker just wouldn't have worked in no
Again,
one.
I like
Yeah.
his take on
So
it.
I kind of like how they do differentiate,
You see the
separate themselves
influences.
in that.
Yeah.
Like, there are certain points too when his voice
Because there's
sounds
10 Jokers.
fairly dead on like Heath Ledger.
Yeah.
But then
Somewhat.
I even got
Yeah.
a bit of like a Jim Carrey kind of thing. At some
Yeah.
point.
That's what I was thinking at the very
You can
beginning.
kind of see where he's pulling stuff from, but he does it very well.
Yeah.
Had the Riddler been dark.
Yeah, it's definitely more of an amalgamation of
Yeah.
things. But at the same time, I would say the Joker's not the most versatile character.
But yeah, I think that's fair.
I mean,
Because he's very much
you don't
the
see him-
clown psychopath.
Yeah.
You don't see him.
There's
much
only so
outside.
much you can do with that.
but
Well,
like,
there have been 3 Jokers.
Yeah.
And there are all at once, but there's been
No, there's
basi-
10.
there's been the 3 different Jokers are basically very different characters.
Yeah.
'Cause Originally, he
They're
was.
all elements on the same thing.
But I mean, the original Golden Age Joker was he was crazy, but that wasn't as big a part of his character as it was like the Joker is a facade, much like Batman is. It's not so much he's a crazy clown. He just was more of the crime lord, master criminal type. And the Silver Age happened with the Comics Code Authority and
he became silly and
Became
kind of campy.
prankster. And
Yeah.
that's when you get your like Caesar Romero Joker and Brave and the Bold show Joker, which I love that show. And then
I wish Jared Leto would have kept his beard and they would have put the makeup on.
why not?
Yeah, just as allusion to that.
Yeah.
And then then there was the Bronze Age onward has been the same Joker, which is just the psychopath,
Yeah.
like Heath Ledger Joker.
Well, I just think as time has evolved and culture has kind of been asking for more of these in-depth kind of character
Yeah.
study type things. It's sort of a natural progression.
But
We got a Killing Joke movie
Yeah.
because of
Yeah.
it, so.
like, what do we think
And
though
then
of
I have mixed feelings about
Harley and Joker's like relationship?
I
It was
honestly
kind of
would
a-
have watched a movie just about that.
Yeah, I think
I mean,
they did a good job of portraying
Yeah,
it.
Yeah.
I think
It
one thing that I
was-
really liked, that I think was a bit more subtle, is like when he's talking to Harley and he's kind of like, "Would you die for me?" He's like, "No." "Would you live for me?" And then she jumps in the vat.
Yeah.
I think initially the Joker was like just using her for fun,
Yeah.
and because he walks away, but then he kind of stops and is like, "You know what? What the hell?" And then he like jumps in the vat with her. Yeah, and I think that was that moment where this is the most humanity. Very little, but this is the most humanity we've seen in a Joker in pretty much any iteration.
Yeah.
Where
Mark Hamill wouldn't jump in.
yeah, and so
His
I,
lightsaber.
that was actually one of my favorite Joker scenes, is because it shows that like, yeah, he's a terrible, awful human being, but there's still something.
Well, it shows that sympathy.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I thought one of
that
the
you-
kind of humor that did work, to go back to the end of the movie again, they do that thing where the bad guy like traps them in their fantasy world.
Yeah.
When like Harley's fantasy, you kind of see, and it is telling too. You see what she wants from the
Yeah.
relationship.
I thought that was
Or they're
neat.
like they're perfectly normal.
Yeah.
like a dream.
1950s. She's got like
Yeah.
some curly.
Kids,
House.
just Jared
Yeah.
Leto
Housewife.
there.
He's got his eyebrows back.
Yeah. But yeah, I did really like for the little they were on screen together,
Yep.
you really did feel like they had good chemistry.
I like how it felt like a little more adult version of the animated
Yeah.
series.
At the same time,
And again,
well,
one of my
the-
favorite parts that they kind of just ripped from the comics is you do see the original.
Yeah.
Harleys
Yeah.
and,
You know, plus
Jokers and
their
Types or
nicknames for each
whatever.
other that they
Yeah.
used throughout
Couldn't-
the film was really cool.
Yeah, like I actually didn't expect that. Like, but one of the first scenes, she's kind of like, "Mr. J!" I was like,
Yeah.
"Yay!"
keeps calling him Puddin'.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very dead onto the character.
Yeah,
Very
I know
cool.
some people found that kind of jarring that she kept referring to as Puddin'. Like, shut up.
That's what she does.
That's what she does. That's her character.
That is Harley Quinn.
So like even like some of the dialogue where it may not have come off like some
If
people
you
would be like,
didn't
"Oh, it's
really
kind
know the
of
characters,
Yeah.
Yeah.
especially.
I would
But
think
even-
you'd think it'd be cheesy.
yeah."
Yeah.
And same with Joker,
It's
like
supposed to be cheesy.
Yeah.
some of his dialogue might have come off as a bit I don't know, like kind of cheesy or whatever. But like that is the character of the Joker, where like yeah, he'll say like these kind of like one-liners and jokes that come off as a little cheesy or whatever, but he's also menacing at the same time.
He's supposed to be
he did a
like,
good balance.
Yeah.
he's supposed to kind of make you laugh and then realize, oh shit, I shouldn't laugh at that.
Yeah.
And him and Harley, like, their relationship is honestly like better than some iterations of it in this movie because
Yeah.
it's more of a very unhealthy codependence thing.
Yeah.
They did a good job portraying that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
More like, and obviously it's abusive too, but kind of
'Cause-
both ways abusive.
Like
Yeah.
even when you see, let's see, where Joker just kind of seems to be. I forget where it happened exactly in the movie. I guess it's might have been after his first attempt to get Harley back.
oh yeah.
When he's kind of just sitting around that room with the guns and knives or
Yeah.
whatever, and he
Oh,
just
yeah.
looks miserable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, he's drawing another smile
Yeah.
over his
Yeah.
face. And I kind of like the thing where he's got the smile tattoo
Yeah.
that he does.
Oh yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, oddly enough,
You can't see where I'm putting my hand in front of my face, and I think that really
Yeah.
works.
yeah, I think that's the weird thing is like, I wasn't crazy about the tattoos, but it
I
worked.
wasn't crazy
Didn't
about his
really
look
bother me except
in-
for
Yeah.
the damage
initially.
one, which I
Yeah.
thought was stupid.
I even
But
kind of
with
think
the movie, it worked out.
Yeah, I even think in the
Made
damage.
sense.
I didn't even notice the damaged one in the movie, and I
Yeah,
would be willing to believe that
surprisingly.
they kind of faded it a little bit
Yeah.
in post production because it's not
I mean,
nearly as prominent.
that speaks for how well they executed Joker because he's not in the movie at all, but
Yeah.
every scene
He's
had a lot of
his
meaning to
character.
it.
Yeah.
It wasn't just they just showed him because he's the Joker. You know,
Yeah.
we're just going to do this for the fans. No, it actually has meaning, whether or not it actually relates to the story of this film.
Yeah.
Not really. He didn't need to be in the movie at all, but just with the psyche and with Harley
Well,
especially.
of course, to introduce Harley,
you have to.
you
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
Joker,
Yeah.
Which
because she makes no sense without
But
the
No.
Joker.
I think at the same time, it also worked having the Joker in it because it just shows that he is just chaos
Yes.
and the embodiment of
Well,
chaos,
yeah,
where he's
another-
cutting his own path through
He's
the
just-
events going on in the movie.
Yeah.
He just
Yeah.
like
He's doing
even
his
if
own
yeah,
thing.
even if he was
Yeah.
standing right next to like Enchantress destroying the world, he's like, "Go away! I don't care about you."
I'm
Yeah.
doing my
You know, yeah, he'd still just kind of be like, "Oh, hey, Harley." They'd be talking, and like Enchantress would be like, "I'm trying to destroy the world," and you're like having a conversation. He'd be like, "Shut up."
He just turned around. Give us a minute.
Yeah. And so, and again, I think they did that really well, where
Yeah.
he's just does not care about anything else going on, like even like all the putty-looking people, like the Power Ranger putty people.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, I think there's a problem with sort of we were talking about in another podcast we did with Phil.
Check that
Film
out.
Beef.
Yeah.
It'll probably be up
It'll
later.
be better than this one, I'm sure. But so anyway, where DC's playing catch up. This is the first introduction of this Joker,
Mhm.
and he wouldn't have to be in the movie at all,
Yeah.
really, if he had been introduced before. So you would
Yeah.
understand. You
Mhm.
could understand who Harley Quinn was without that. So he did kind of have to be in it,
Yeah.
just for that reason.
Mhm. But again, you also
So
did.
again, if they had taken their time and done other,
Yeah. But you
Yeah,
did.
whatever.
You did believe in this movie he would do whatever it took to get Harley
Yep.
back because their weird, crazy relationship, where it's just kind of like, And again, like when she falls out of the helicopter, you actually do like see him just really like bummed out that she fell.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like other
Yeah, I
iterations.
think he would be fine if she died. but
He would, but
he would be upset.
Yeah, he'd be upset, but yeah, after a while,
It would
he'd
affect
probably.
him for a little while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought the little we got of Harley and Joker together, I thought they did really good with that.
And shit, I was gonna say something. Someone else talk.
Was it about Joker?
Maybe.
Was it about
Uh,
Harley?
Maybe. I don't know.
Well-
I had a thing I was gonna say, and then I lost
I will
it.
tell you another thing. I think another kind of like surprise standout was Jay Hernandez as El Diablo. Like I figured like El
Yep.
Diablo would have like that cool moment like we saw in the trailer where he catches everything on fire. But I felt like overall his character wouldn't
This thing was
be.
weird at the end.
Then he has another
Actually,
cool moment. That,
He
I actually think it
forms
made
into a fire
sense.
Megazord and fights Incubus.
I mean, it was cool, but it was like it was
And
dumb.
it's like, what is
Like
happening?
I think at the same time though I think I
And all of a
thought that was
sudden he couldn't
really
defeat Incubus, but then they just blow up a bomb and that does it.
I was just trying to
well,
get
that's
you
how
there.
Sharknado's work.
Yeah.
Exactly.
A bomb works
But
on everything.
I kind of thought he would die just because the character, he also did a really good interpretation of Diablo in the comics because that is his character. I don't know if it was exactly the same as in the comics, but basically he did a lot of
That familiar with the character.
crazy. He killed a lot of people. He regretted it. He's trying to like repent and stuff like that. But obviously they put him on the Suicide Squad anyways in the comics. They're like, well, we don't care. You can die, whatever, or you can do the job and catch
You're
people on
technically
fire.
in jail right now, so
Yeah.
we have access
Um,
to you.
it's all like the fact that like the other members are kind of like, dude, why aren't you fighting? He's like, no, I don't do that anymore. And then finally he catches people on fire. It's cool, but he's still holding back. And then I thought that scene was even cooler when he turns into that big flaming monster. Because you're like, oh god, what is this guy? What else can this guy do? But
Never know.
being that powerful, it made sense that they also had to kill him off.
At the same time, too, I think a lot of it should have been a different story anyway, because a lot of the magic stuff it doesn't really fit their skills. Because
I just kept thinking of Justice League Dark anytime they
yeah,
had
they're
that.
mostly a bunch of I was hoping at some point that John Constantine would come
Yeah.
out and just save the day because why not?
short cameo.
Yeah, but I think he's not in the TV universe only now. But if they brought anybody from TV into the films,
Guillermo's talking
Ryan
about
would be
making it though. but
perfect.
Obviously, be a different.
I think it's
actor.
still sort of in the air. Well, I think he's a perfect Constantine, despite
Yeah.
And again, I think the problem with the show was it was on NBC.
Yeah.
But and even for that, I didn't hate it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, and it a lot due to Matt Ryan because I think it's just perfect in there.
Yeah.
It's like they just ripped him out of the comics. But yeah, again, I think because again, most of them are Deadshot's an assassin. Harley's just kind of
Crazy person.
They're all kind
Crazy
of more
baseball
like
bat lady.
sort of ground level
Yeah.
kind of grapplers, and the whole kind of fighting of magic or
Yeah, they shouldn't.
Ultron type villain or
This shouldn't have been a save the world
world
story.
in they
No.
kind of needed something more catered to their
Yeah.
skill set,
Yeah.
not something so I guess magic and powers.
Yeah.
Not
Like-
that I'm upset they used Enchantress. I think they still could have used her. It just could have been done.
Better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like she has potential for that movie. It just didn't need to be a
Yeah.
big
It didn't
thing.
need to
The world doesn't have to end with every
Blockbuster
single
lights
movie.
everywhere.
Yeah.
We got to do this now.
Which it felt very attached at the end too.
Which
and now I'm going to destroy the world.
that could have been like one of the studio things. They're kind of like, no, we
Yeah.
have to.
That's a very studio move. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, even X-Men Apocalypse tried that, and that's
Yeah.
the weaker of the new trilogy. I still
Yeah.
liked it,
That
But
came out this year.
but who can tell?
But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like that's becoming like a trope of a lot of these blockbuster movies. It's like this
I think
world-ending,
hopefully
bright light in the
Yeah.
sky,
It's gonna be
circulating
getting
stuff.
done.
I think
And
with-
it's not working.
I think with Deadpool, with Civil War, I think we're moving away from that.
Yeah.
I think Doctor Strange might have elements
Yeah.
of it, but I don't think it'll be the focus.
Well, Doctor Strange is so different anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
But
won't.
I feel like it would fit more in Doctor
It
Strange.
would. Yeah,
than-
where it won't feel as cheesy, I
Yeah.
guess.
Because if you want to start poking the holes that people usually try poking Marvel movies, where was the Flash during all this? You know.
Yeah.
That's what I heard in some other reviews of Suicide Squad. Like, why don't they, if they know, spoiler alert at the mid-credit scene when Bruce Wayne is talking to Amanda Waller and he gets the file with all the metahumans, you see Flash. And like, well, if they knew about all this, why didn't they get Flash to fight Enchantress? Well, I mean, they had access to all these people.
Yeah.
They're all in prison. Well, the only ones that were Harley Quinn, Deadshot, and Killer Croc were the only ones that were in the Belle Reve or whatever
Yeah.
Louisiana one, and then
Yeah.
they just kind of ran like Katana and Slipknot just randomly show
Yeah.
up when they're about to go.
Yeah.
You get a little bit of backstory in Katana later.
Which I would have liked more Katana.
Yeah.
I thought she was a
Yeah.
really cool character. And I like what
Well-
little she was there. But
Well
And
cast,
again,
too.
another
Yeah.
standout in this movie, Jai Courtney.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that I didn't
never
mind
thought I would
him
say
not
that.
him just kind of being thrown in because I think it worked.
That's Captain Boomerang. He's never
Yeah.
going to be a big time
No.
villain.
no. But I mean,
I did like him a lot.
Yeah.
In there.
He does
Again,
smart
I've never
justice.
hated Jai Courtney. I don't really get most people's complaints with
I've
him.
never
This
hated.
was a good role for him because
Yeah.
he doesn't have. He's not the star. He doesn't get a ton of lines. But
pressure's
when he
not really on him.
does,
He
Yeah.
can just
he
flourish.
does a good job.
He was like
everything he
because
has.
He was the
Yeah, I
weakest
think,
part of Terminator
like, all
Salvation
his
for me.
humor
Genesis.
actually worked.
Whatever.
Yeah. Like when they were in like the
It's better
main
than
fight,
Salvation.
he was just hiding
It
behind
is.
that car drinking Australian
And in the
beer.
bar scene, like when like Rick Flag comes in and is like, "You're all free to go."
Yeah.
And he's
Yeah.
just like, but much like a boomerang, he comes back.
Yeah, and a lot of people complain about that.
He's literally-
which I get that complaint. I actually kind of like that to where he's just kind of like, whatever,
Yeah.
and just like he just like walks back up to him and like, I actually like that. I didn't have a problem.
Though
with
again,
it.
at the beginning, there's really no reason why Katana would just give up and go into the bar with them too, and then just not say anything.
Well, I think it's just one of those things where
Maybe she just wanted a drink.
it's possible.
Was she?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Whiskey,
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
but
Some whiskey.
yeah, basically,
What time is it?
like I think it might have just been one of those things where like,
4:00 somewhere.
but like Rick Flag was kind of defeated. Like he's just kind of
How
like,
do we feel about Rick Flag, or Joel Kinnaman?
He did
Was
good.
Rick Flag
Fine. Not
Thought
really
he
a
did good.
standout.
Well,
but
considering that he was the replacement for Tom Hardy,
Yep.
yeah,
how do we
he
feel
was.
about that?
He was serviceable.
I'm glad.
like-
I'm kind of glad Tom Hardy wasn't, just because he
I was,
so recently
I was thinking about
already.
that
Yeah.
during the movie when I was
I wouldn't
watching
mind
it.
Granted, he
Come back
would.
for
You know,
another
he could. He's such an actor. that
Yeah.
It would have been better.
You
but
wouldn't know. He
I
was
don't
playing
think-
at all.
Yeah.
I don't think it actually
Well,
made
also
that
'cause
much
they
difference for
redubbed
my
all his
opinion.
lines,
Yeah.
and it felt really surround sound. But I'm not going to go into all my many complaints about the Dark Knight
Plus,
Rises.
Kinnaman hasn't done a whole lot of movies like feature
I
roles, so
think
that
it was
I
fine.
thought
It was
I thought
good.
that was
Yeah.
he did as good a job.
yeah.
I think,
I think they could have.
as he
I
would
think
have.
you needed somebody who could kind of believably
I wouldn't
be
mind
an
seeing.
antagonist for Will Smith.
I wouldn't mind seeing Tom Hardy come
Could have
back
been
and do
written
another DC
better.
role.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think Rick Flag and Will Smith as Deadshot. They were good
I think they
foils for
worked
one
well
another.
together.
I was
Yeah,
worried
they-
about Will Smith going into it,
He,
but
I
it
didn't-
actually
I
worked.
thought he was
Yeah.
going to dominate, which
Yeah.
he basically.
I mean, he did his
so-
thing. He did his normal thing, but it
it
didn't
wasn't
take away
Yeah, it didn't
from
like
the moment.
Yeah, he didn't outshine anyone
He's,
else.
No.
he's Will Smithing.
He did
it.
his.
That's good
Yeah,
to see.
I mean, that's.
He's
He,
charismatic.
he doesn't. He doesn't act. I mean, he's in
Yeah.
movies, but he doesn't act.
Yeah.
He's himself.
Yeah.
I'd say this was some of the more acting type
Yeah.
acting I've seen from him.
I will say
Sounds
probably
like maybe-
in the
Well, I like the emotion they had showed with that backstory with his
Yeah.
daughter.
Yeah.
Hey, I didn't know how in depth they would go, so that was cool.
And again, that
again,
is
they go more in depth with some than others.
Yeah.
And you don't have to go that in depth with all of them.
No.
It's an ensemble.
No, you just
you're not
wanted
gonna
to.
be able to.
You wanted
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
knock out the main Deadshot,
Yeah, like-
Harley.
Killer Croc. I
But then
think.
you get some like Slipknot that have no.
Hey,
Yeah,
what-
again, I think.
Hey, what's up? Oh, hey, goodbye.
I think
We
that
knew
scene
it,
would have
but
been a
we
lot-
knew it.
Yeah, but when he dies, I think that would have had some kind of gravity.
I don't really. Well,
At least just to say that
it was mostly
we're
there.
the
Mhm.
oh, they're not kidding. We we
Yeah.
put
Yeah.
these bombs in our neck or
That-
whatever, and we're all expendable because they spent a little bit of time just to give him backstory. He's on.
But it is
equal
better
footing.
than
Yeah.
the Expendables.
Got him up.
Yeah, he's on equal footing with the rest of the team.
Yeah.
Of course, that scene. Did you think that Boomerang was kind of testing it to see if they would actually blow their heads off, or do you think he was actually
That's the
gonna make?
impression I got.
Yeah, because I thought like he was kind of almost antagonizing Slipknot a bit,
Yeah.
where-
It's like,
which
well, you do it.
yeah.
We all want to know, but
Yeah,
you do it.
because I think he just made the minimal effort to look like he was going to make a break
Yeah.
for it, so that way Slipknot would be like, "All right, let's do this."
Well, that was another weird thing too.
Oh, he actually did.
Very early when they're on the first mission, and Deadshot's talking to Harley about like, okay, I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna escape. You know. And then when they're fighting the weird paper people,
Putties.
whatever,
They're putties.
just the random people that are there just so everybody has something to do on screen.
The gooey Chitari.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When they're carrying Rick Flag off, perfect opportunity.
Hmm.
And all of a sudden he just remembers, oh wait, if Rick Flag dies, we all die.
Yeah.
Let's go save him. I don't really see
Yeah.
where the change. Did he just really just remember?
It's like
that,
we hate
oh,
you, but we
wait,
need to save you.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, Amanda Waller's still in play. She's gonna kill us if he dies.
yeah.
So that was a little odd.
It
And
didn't
there's
really
a lot
bother me
of
that much.
stuff like that. Just again, there are things
There's
I
more
liked. I like the
nitpicky.
characters.
They're trying to fight the urge to just be bad guys.
Yeah.
Just good characters in a
But I-
poorly made film.
I still did like that scene where Harley Quinn broke into that shop and he's kind of, what the hell is wrong with you
Yeah.
people? And it's like, yeah, they're bad guys. What do you expect?
And a lot
I
of
like-
that was all in the trailers too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I still
Yeah,
like
I mean-
that scene. Like seeing
Yeah, you didn't need it at all.
Like seeing her
It was
bend
just
over
kind of
to-
funny.
I mean,
No,
that
I
was the
got
best part of the movie.
I don't disagree. Well, yeah, that's a very good part of the movie. Is that
It was the best part.
it's very good, very, very solid, firm.
Buttocks.
Shoulders.
Yeah,
Show nice shoulders.
Some nice
In the
pigtails.
gym.
yeah,
How did you guys feel about the Batman scenes?
Oh, they worked.
Liked it.
yeah. I like one thing that this DC seems to be doing that Marvel isn't is they're like not being self-contained. Like
Yeah.
their cameos are like just that. It's
So
just
I like how
I'm
Batman's kind of the center.
Yeah.
With every
I
movie,
think
he's
it
kind
is
of
telling to Ben Affleck's commitment.
Yeah.
to
the Iron
franchise as a
Man.
whole.
Yeah, because this could not have paid as much as
Type.
any other movie for him to be in it. It was probably just like a here's
Make his little Nick Fury appearance in
Yeah.
every DC movie.
I guess they give him they're giving him a lot of creative control
Yeah.
too, so it's kind of like,
yeah.
well, we kind of need you to do this,
I'm cool
but
with
it's
it.
going to play, yeah.
What about the Flash showing up?
I'm sure he's getting compensated overall.
I blinked
Yeah.
during that scene. Was he in it?
Yeah, it
I
was-
like that it wasn't all just scenes of Batman catching
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah, I
and
like
have
that.
Somebody else.
And it makes sense
Still
because
not fully on board with
Boomerang
their
is
version
a
of
Flash villain.
I like the look of the Flash in this. Like it's very injustice.
Like,
I like
Shoulders
injustice.
are
I think-
tricky, though, 'cause it
Oh
just
my
throws off
God,
the whole
Dave,
thing.
really?
Yeah.
I will say this. I think
You don't need the weird pointy.
instead
shoulder. It
of
just
like
throws off the whole
the
look.
red and like
I'm
the
alright
black
with
like
I think
lines or whatever going around like
But
the
it could-
joints.
I'm not a big
See-
fashion expert like you.
I think
so
it
I
could-
don't. I don't
I
die.
don't
I don't
know.
die.
I think the color would be better if it wasn't like. I think it would be better if it was like red and then the like lines or whatever were yellow. I think that'd look better.
Well, it
than
might not
black.
translate to screen as well, but
Shut up, Dave.
He's barely in it.
I
That's
agree.
why
I
you
actually
get-
agree with Dave on this one.
well, I mean that's
What?
why you get
I
a
don't-
lot of
I don't
costume
think the-
changes like that because a lot of that stuff doesn't really translate. I mean, even the first Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, that's like kind of why they were like ridges
Yeah.
because you couldn't really do that on screen. It would look ridiculous if you just kind of had the
Like the Christopher Reeve Superman. Looks,
Yeah,
looks,
if you ha-
looks kind of ridiculous
Yeah.
nowadays. I mean, it's they're all right.
if you
movies,
have that direct adaptation from the stuff that looks good on the page doesn't really translate to screen. A lot
It
of times,
always does.
which is why you just dress everybody in black leather.
Shut up, Bryan Singer.
But I don't think the right way to go with the Flash costume is to put a bunch of yellow on it.
I mean, it would be cool if they could do it. I'm just not sure how it would
Yeah.
translate to screen.
I'm fine with. I like the costume well enough. I mean,
I think it might grow on
To
me.
actually say a
on
positive about the Flash, I do like how they're one of the few things I liked about the Justice League trailer. When you see him going to catch the Batarang
Yeah.
or whatever, it does kind of look like he's almost getting pulled into the Speed Force.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like that the Speed Force is
Yeah.
kind of a malleable sort of thing.
Yeah,
So yeah, I have positive things to say sometimes,
whatever.
even about things I don't generally care for.
You got like a good 3 minutes in depth on a Flash's costume. I like it.
I like the Flash's costume.
Again, I
Yeah.
didn't like the one in the show.
It doesn't
that
bother
much
me either way.
first,
I like it fine.
but it grew on me.
I like
Maybe
it. I
this
like
one will
the
grow on me.
Justice.
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
we haven't seen enough of it in the
So,
movies yet to even.
Aside
form
from
a
Harley,
opinion.
did you all have a favorite member of the Suicide Squad that you kind of thought worked the best or stood out the most?
trying to think.
Captain Boomerang stood out for me more than I thought he
Probably
would.
Yeah.
Boomerang would
Yeah.
be mine.
Which is really weird for me to say
Were
because I
you-
just despise Jai Courtney so much. I
Really
Dave
don't get the.
I Dave on him so hard.
You need to watch Spartacus.
You know what they say about the crazy ones?
You need to watch. I don't know. Die Hard.
Divergent.
What- Yeah,
I've seen Die Hard.
the one with him in it.
A Good Day to Die Hard.
That was the
Yeah,
The fifth one.
yeah.
that one was awful, but I don't think.
I don't think it was his.
fault.
It wasn't his
It
fault.
was
It's-
his fault, but he wasn't right for it. either.
They just wanted money. Bruce
Yeah.
Willis doesn't try anymore.
Yeah.
So
I thought-
this was a good opportunity for a young actor, but he's
I don't think
given
he
a lot of
brought anything
odds.
to the
It
role,
is-
but I don't think he hurt
No, no.
anything.
Shouldn't do
Again, it was a
American
terrible
accents.
movie,
Yeah.
but
He was.
That's the thing. If you're focused too much on trying to sound American,
Yeah.
and it takes away from your performance.
Really did.
Whether or not that.
So-
With some actors, like I don't
whether
think it
it's
really.
conscious or not.
With Chris Hemsworth, I don't think it makes much of a difference. But Liam, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In his movies, you can tell just
He's
when he's
trying a
talking,
little too
like
hard.
in his
Well,
interviews,
they
he's
probably have dialect coaches and stuff. He's
Yeah.
got that running in the back of his
yeah,
head.
like in a.
Yeah.
Like Jai Courtney and Liam interviews, they're much more laid back and
Mhm.
funny.
Like Jai Courtney is.
And then, like, when they-
Tyrese was not.
Yeah,
casting.
even when they try to be funny in their American accent, it just doesn't translate as
Yeah.
well.
So-
I mean, it's more of an issue, I guess.
Jai
than
Courtney,
people would
just be
think.
yourself.
Yeah.
Or be
Yeah.
Boomerang
Be yourself
in every other movie.
and
Even if it doesn't call for it.
don't talk
I'm
with an
gonna point
accent.
out that Margot Robbie is Australian.
Yeah.
Did pretty well. She is doing a lot of her.
No, I mean
Wolf of Wall
it's
Street.
Some
not,
actors
it's not
have
for every
accent than
actor.
others.
Yeah, it's
Well, yeah, of course.
it's just less
Jai
less of an
Courtney-
issue.
Yeah,
so.
Jai Courtney don't do an accent. Margot Robbie, just keep wearing the shorts.
Do what you
And
do.
whatever else you do, but keep the.
Or don't wear anything like
Yeah.
Wolf of
Yeah.
Wall
Yeah.
Street.
Yeah.
I think Boomerang was like I guess impressed me more than I expected he did, but I still think El Diablo was a bigger surprise because I figured
I could kind of.
I felt he was more like I initially felt he'd be more of a throwaway.
Yeah, he
where,
was
like,
more
Yeah.
involved than I thought he would.
Yeah.
I kinda
Then again,
got the sense
I
from the trailers that
actually-
he was gonna be the one with more of an arc.
I thought he'd
Yeah.
have like his scenes where he, does his thing, but like in more dialogue. I
Yeah.
didn't expect, I guess, Tim to
Yeah. So and I think
make much of an impact.
some people didn't quite believe that he'd be willing to sacrifice himself. I actually kind of believed it because
Yeah.
this, for all we know, he'd been locked up for probably years. Probably not really talked to anybody, and this is the first time he had any kind of connection, as little as it may have been. Because again,
He's making friends.
yeah, 'cause they'd been together as a team for like a day.
If that.
Yeah, if that. But
Maybe
it's-
met each
Yeah.
other the other day.
I did like to see that camaraderie come
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
just
But I think it was
that
still one of those
development.
things where like they're the squad themselves are like enough to where they're kind of like, yeah, we're terrible people, but we kind of know where we fit in the world, and so I think that's kind of where they all bonded.
Yeah.
For that brief time, they're like, yeah, we're terrible people, we're the bad
The
guys.
thing, I don't know if they embraced that quite
Bad
enough.
guys unite.
No.
You still
but-
got that scene with where Amanda Waller just randomly starts killing all those people.
Yeah.
Just to be like, well, maybe she's even worse than they are.
Yeah.
I think she is.
I think she
But
is.
they
Yeah.
are. They are bad, which is I kind of like near the end where Harley starts talking about joining Enchantress.
Yeah.
'Cause she just doesn't.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, they are bad guys, though, is the thing. It's not like they're heroes all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Just because I think you can have bad guys be your protagonist isn't
Yeah.
necessarily a hero.
Yeah.
But I think again, like for the most part, the squad
Of course, that
had
was a misdirect. But,
they had enough humanity left in them to where again, I kind of get why they were like they didn't even when they were free. They're like, well, we can walk away, but if this is gonna like end the world, then like.
It's like,
What the hell?
yeah.
And again, even Harley Quinn was like, "What? You got nothing better to do?" I was like,
Yeah.
because she thinks Joker's dead, even though no one
Yeah.
else.
Yeah.
thought Joker
That's why I
was
like
dead.
some of the backstories they do. They give the character some emotion and motivation to
So I think-
fight.
She had a vague connection with Will Smith.
"Yes,
He's her friend too.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, like,
And they've done movies.
could they have fleshed out some of the characters more? Definitely. But
Harley
for what we
Deadshot
got,
did bang in
Uh,
Arkham. Assault on Arkham, whatever it was.
but for what we got, I
The
think
animated movie.
the movie was pretty
Just
good.
all about in those animated movies.
Also, they
Yeah.
they got together in the New 52, Deadshot and Harley Quinn.
See, it's
Uh,
from a thing.
Yeah, so there is precedent. for
yeah.
Yeah.
But again, like considering that the movie was rushed and they only had 6 weeks to write the script and basically jump right into shooting, yeah, it's flawed. That's to be expected. But I think it, considering the lack of time and development, it turned out
Yeah.
a lot better than.
Yeah.
I knew it
Other
would be the
movies
movie to
would.
say that.
No.
I like the trailers, but
I think it could
even
have.
before that, I knew it just wouldn't.
I think
say
it,
that.
again. I think
thought
it could have if
could
they.
I mean, yeah, I thought it could have been
It
better than it
wasn't.
was. Not to say I.
Now if they had
There's
given.
still
bad,
a lot of
but-
potential in it. But
Yeah, and I think if they had given David Ayer more time, I think
they've
this
given
could
him
have
more
been the movie
time
to.
and more creative control.
Yeah, I think this could have been the movie that like.
He's done good stuff.
Yeah.
After
This,
Batman.
this movie could have been longer too, because
Yeah.
2 hours is
Would not
kind of
have-
short for a superhero movie these days.
Yeah.
Honestly, wouldn't
With
mind
that many characters.
Yeah.
They could have, fleshed out some more
Yeah.
characters, fixed a lot of the plot stuff.
Justice League's gonna have to be long.
Yeah, it has to.
3 hours,
Yeah.
and the
Yeah,
extended cut will be 4
4.
hours.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings. Yeah.
It'll be just as good of a movie.
Yeah.
Shut your whore mouth.
Anything else we want to talk about
I'll
the
probably enjoy
Suicide
it
Squad
more.
before we start wrapping this up, gentlemen?
Can't wait
I
for
don't
the other
think-
two
I don't
jokes
think
to
you
show up.
disliked it as much.
Yeah, I
as
think you
as you're
guys just
saying.
assumed. Yeah, my
Well, just with
That's
your
what we-
just
that's
the
what
one word,
my
the
knee jerk,
underwhelming.
my knee jerk reaction after
Yeah,
watching
I
it was probably a
understand
bit
that.
harsher. I'm glad we waited about a day to do this review.
Yeah, you get a little-
So on further reflection, again, there are a
Yeah.
lot of stuff I did
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
Just as on a very basic, fundamental level, as a film, it's
Film
just not
wise,
good.
no. Superhero, fun, summer, blockbuster. Yeah.
Yeah.
And as a DC movie, honestly,
On board.
Oh, incredible.
Honestly,
Best thing I've
again,
ever seen.
Is I think shocked Jake quite a bit. I was probably more entertained by Batman v Superman. That doesn't mean Batman v Superman is like an amazing movie. Or
No, no,
anything.
no.
I don't think
It's
I don't
bad.
think literally anyone is saying that.
Yeah.
I don't want there
I
to
think
be any.
the Batman bias comes into play.
Yeah.
Yeah,
think
certainly
for us,
for me-
for me and him, I think the Batman
Yeah.
bias
I-
comes
Batman,
Yeah,
into play.
'cause-
Superman are a huge part of my childhood. Love the
Yeah.
characters. So
Yeah.
my bias going in, I do care about those characters a lot.
Yeah,
That's
and
why I
they-
love
Suicide
every time
Squad,
Batman's in Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I
And
guess,
again, I think
He did a good job in it too.
yeah.
Batflex just surprised and blew me away
Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
was not behind it at all.
Yeah.
And then I wound up saying that he's probably the best on or most
You saw,
faithful.
you
Yeah,
saw
more
Gone
faithful.
Girl,
Yeah,
then came to your
Yeah.
senses.
Especially when you
Kind
seem
of,
like
it did. Because again, I
yeah, that
So
was
you
the
were
turning
still
point.
a year and a
hated
half
Ben
away
Affleck,
from
I
it.
was
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
But
that
that-
big a fan, but after Gone Girl, I was okay. This guy's gotten a lot better.
Yeah.
Between Gone Girl and us
Like,
seeing
I
Batman
can
v
see it.
Superman,
The year and a half window.
But in that time, I moved from Myrtle Beach and back.
And again, a
weird
thing
thing.
with
Was
Zack
that-
Snyder
Yeah.
too is he does have a distinct visual style.
Yeah.
Very fitting and very beautiful in its own way.
I'm hearing he directed a scene in Suicide Squad.
Yeah, the scene with the Flash.
Oh
That
yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
That I don't think there was really anything that distinct. There was really no kind of discernible visual style that I got that really jumped out at me from Suicide Squad. It
It was more in the
just kind of
Tone,
general action
yeah.
movie. Yeah, but so I mean, there was that element to it, and I was a little bored at points in Suicide Squad because I thought the second and third act just was kind of just one big scene.
I didn't have a problem in the second act so much as the third when it just kind of like,
Yeah.
stops developing characters and say, let's just fight the thing.
It really just is.
I don't think
they
it-
introduce
yeah.
the characters and then they just start doing
It didn't make the
thing.
movie go any slower, really, but
Yeah,
there were
it's like-
moments where you could get bored.
And then
But
Joker
it wasn't
came out,
like you
it's
were
like-
looking at your phone
Of course,
seeing what time it is.
I'll be honest. I was actually at the beginning of the movie. I guess just like
I thought it started out fine.
it started out fun, but it
From
wasn't.
there.
I was still kind of worried. I was like, I might
kinda
not like
waiting,
this.
yeah.
But then, you know,
I was like, well, I like the music, so I was like, that's
Yeah.
at least one plus.
because
If anything else,
I was
happens, that's- I've
even
at least
after
got
hearing all the
music.
negative criticism, I
No,
was
a lot of people
convinced
I'm
that
surprised at the negative criticisms on the music.
Yeah.
It's just one big music month.
They don't know what they're
Maybe
talking
being
about.
such a big fan of music.
Yeah.
I actually really like that kind of stuff, but
yeah. But like
It was just fitting.
I was
yeah.
convinced that like I
don't
would
think the
still.
songs were just
I-
they seem just thrown in
No,
there. To put
I think they fit.
I expected you to hate it just because of the trend of recently. With Batman v Superman and Apocalypse,
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
both like, critics' reviews are bad. And then
I kind of figured I would like it more.
Which again, like that
because Batman v
is.
Superman,
It had like the opposite
I didn't hate it.
effect. I guess just because with Suicide Squad, I wasn't expecting like great story, even if like they had more time, because it's just
you know,
in the comics, it's basically like okay, assemble. Here's the
Kill.
dangerous place to go
Yeah.
kill
I mean, you don't
things.
have to have a super intricate plot
No.
to be good. A lot of times, the simplest plots are the best.
Yeah.
That's why I
But
knew it wouldn't save DC.
Yeah, so like that was
I
one of
thought
those
it could
things where
help
like
it.
It's still all about execution. I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
it was executed very well.
no, it could have been better,
And I feel like
but
It just had a lot of things going against it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't say you can't just blame David Ayer. I think
No,
there's a
no,
lot
no.
of
He's gonna
not enough
get.
time,
That's why I don't
studio
like it.
interruption.
Yeah.
DC
He's gonna get-
is very
You suck.
come on.
Man, you're like me today with that.
This is your home court, man.
Yeah.
Very knee-jerk reaction to all the criticism from Batman Superman.
Which I don't like because he's going to get a lot of
Again,
Yeah.
negativity.
you hired David Ayer for a reason.
Towards
I
him.
assume.
Yeah.
Let him make the film he wants to make it.
Yeah.
Given his previous work, it's probably going to be pretty good.
yeah,
But then they just didn't have faith in him. Or again, I think they were kind of shaking their boots,
Yeah.
especially after Batman Superman.
yeah.
But just their very ambitious slate in general.
Just
They're, I don't know. They're just afraid, and they.
Very cautionary and reactionary. Very reactionary, like
And now
maybe a
that-
bit
yeah.
too much.
And now that they're, all the negative reviews of Suicide Squad, not undeserved, but I don't think to the degree.
Yeah, like I get the
no,
criticism,
this
but no, I don't
the
think
Rotten
it needs.
Tomato score could be doubled,
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
and it'd still be in the
Yeah.
50s, and
Yeah.
I'd be fine with that.
Yeah.
IMDb score, I would maybe give it like a 6 to 6.5.
Yeah,
I'd give
that's,
it between 6 and 7 on IMDb.
I'd probably give it a 6.
It's probably the most coherent rating I've given anything.
It'll be hovering around 6.8 to 7.1, I think.
Well, yeah, all right. I guess
Also,
since
I had to throw the water bottle over Reference
Oh,
Spaceman.
slide out.
so-
I've done that too.
You practice from the couch over there, I'm sure.
Anyway, so I guess now that we've ranked it, let's
Well, we
see.
didn't really rank it. We got to give it our ranking.
Okay, our ranking.
Yeah.
What would you rate it, Dave?
Yeah,
out of
Dave.
our crazy nonsensical ranking.
Well, yours. The rest of ours. Makes sense.
The rest of yours make sense.
How many socks?
Socks.
Well, I'm not wearing socks. Does that make a difference?
Well, it depends on where you're
just
buying them.
If you're buying them at a retail store that you're familiar with.
If you're buying them at a retail store that I'm familiar with,
We got some good ones with that.
it's probably one of. It's like a pack that's been marked down to clearance and then sold as is because
it's missing some
so-
elements.
yeah, it's missing
a
some
couple
things.
pairs.
It's been stolen from. It's a known theft item. So it's marked as is. You get what you get, and it's they're still socks. And you can still wear them, but you're not getting everything you wanted.
This still actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, this is actually is your most
There
coherent.
appears that I'm on a weird thing today. The medication is working. Yeah, basically it's an as-is
Pair of socks.
It may just be the one pair from a pack of socks that you would buy at a retail store that I'm very familiar with.
Okay.
Rev.
I gave Batman v Superman a B minus. I'll give this
I
one
gave
solid.
it a C.
No, you didn't. You gave it a table, or you gave it a bottle of water out of a table.
I also gave it a C.
I gave Batman v Superman a B minus. I'll give this one a solid B.
I would give it. I think Batman v Superman I gave it a C, but I think the main reason I gave it a C was because the movie
I
is
still
bad.
feel like you hated that.
I didn't hate it.
Way
Like
more than.
honestly, like
hated
The way
my,
you talk about it
my
is
thoughts.
hate.
It is a bad.
especially initially.
I remember
it's
as
a-
soon as the credits started rolling, you're like, "What a disappointment!"
It was because it's a bad movie, but there were enough
I
elements.
think I tailored my expectations appropriately.
Yeah.
There were enough elements that I enjoyed to where I was like, I'll give it a C just for that. As an actual film, it was like a D. So as a
Wow.
I think the truth
In
is
the
coming
extended
out
cut, Lex Luthor has snot in his nose in
I mean,
every scene,
again,
except the very end.
I guess my main issues were just the movie should have been so much simpler than what it was. And I guess like it stems from like some of the minor issues that should have been
What's
issues.
your suicide?
Suicide Squad, yeah.
We're going on 45 minutes now.
Suicide Squad, I'd give like, I'd give it like a C plus, because again, like
That's
there's
fair.
Yeah.
there are a lot of elements that like were very enjoyable. I liked it a lot more than Batman v Superman because it was
I mean,
incredibly flawed,
whatever.
but again, for what it is, yeah, solid C plus.
Yeah.
Again,
Sounds
if you're
about
making
right.
that comparison, my bias definitely does come into play. The visual of it too. Just really as a concept, I feel like they. This is probably going to sound bad. I think they may have tried a little harder. Did it work? No, not really. But I feel like there was a bit more effort there. But yeah, again, if you like Suicide Squad better, I can definitely see that. But
I just thought it was like
I was
more
again,
enjoyable.
I would say, yeah, again, I think as not great as it was, I did enjoy Batman
Mhm.
Superman more. But again, I think that's just kind of I like those characters better. But
Mhm.
yeah, not that the movie itself really did anything. The movie itself wouldn't make you like Superman at all.
No.
But,
I'd give it 3.5 out of 5 popcorns.
There we go.
Okay, I think that's fair. Are we gonna do what are we experiencing, or are we just gonna go ahead and wrap
I
this
say
up?
we just
Want
keep this
to.
Yeah.
squad.
keep
Okay.
it
Yeah.
simple.
Squad.
So yeah, there's a review on Suicide Squad. Hopefully you all have enjoyed. Like us on Facebook at Pace of Hell Productions to get updates and when things are gonna get uploaded and all that stuff. And follow us on
Go to the Twitter page if you want to.
Yeah. Dave will start
It's kind
stepping
of
it up.
I've
Yeah,
been
Dave's
retweeting a bunch of. It's more like a news feed thing of things.
We got more podcasts
It's
in the
a,
works.
Interested in.
Yeah.
it's a
In the
news
works.
feed
Yeah.
thing.
If
of
we get
things.
more organization together, I will try to.
We will.
get
Yeah.
organized.
It's coming.
But we got some stuff going on. We're gonna be
If we can get
stepping
more
it
of a
up.
plan in
How much
place.
of that will actually happen? We'll
Production
see.
We'll
meeting
see.
at the end of this.
But
thing.
more reason to follow us on social medias to
I'm
get
Rev
to
Spaceman
be-
on Twitter.
And I am at Irishman Jake, all one word. And until next time, everyone, cheers.